So last week, I guess it was last week, my wonderful wife bought me a new computer. And because my old ones were getting pretty bad. Anyway, I loaded up my office product so that I can use Word because I like to write a lot, and that's what I used to write. And just out of curiosity, I wanted to see how it was all laid out, because this is a Mac computer compared to the old kind that I had. And so I clicked open, not expecting any documents to be there, but just to see how it was laid out. And a talk that we had 3 or 4 years ago, named "Let There Be Light," popped up on the new computer. So I'm, okay, this has got to be some sort of sign. I better tune into this and just see what's going on. So anyway, I went back and reread the talk from a few years ago and thought this might be something we want to talk about this morning. So this talk was based on Mary Baker Eddy's writings on creation that can be found in her book, Science and Health. And she uses the phrase, "let there be light." And she states that "let there be light" is a perpetual demand of truth and love, changing chaos into order and discord into the music of the spheres. Let there be light is the foundation for accurate views of creation by divine mind. Not just the creation of the universe, but creation in every moment of every day. Sounded pretty powerful to me. Even more so this time. I went back and read the text as well, and it just had even more meaning than it did the first time. So Mary Baker Eddy says that eternal truth is changing the universe. The first thing we need to do is talk about universe. We have two forms or two definitions of universe that are pretty common. One is with that lowercase u, universe, which is all of material creation. It's huge, but it's not infinite. Then you've got the universe with the uppercase. And we can go into a whole lot of different definitions, but basically I can sum this up by saying this. Universe with the capital U is God. Done. It's infinite. No beginning, no end. No birth, no death. Perpetual. Is that a good word? We understand the uppercase universe more deeply as we let light shine, not just light from a bulb up here, but God's light, divine light. When we let light shine, as light enters our thinking, our feelings, the shadows disappear, things become clear. And as things become clear, we understand more. And as we understand more, creation happens. It's really not creation, it's more of revelation. More is revealed that we can see, that we can understand. As we mature our thinking and in our spiritual knowledge, we realize the material universe does change. And you don't even have to get real spiritual with that. If you just watch the news with an open mind, you'll see changes every day. Every day. It's when we watch it with a closed mind that looks like nothing's changing and we get irritated because nothing's changing. The material universe changes all the time. A tree falls down. A bird flies a different direction than what we thought it was going to. A friend leaves or dies. The material universe changes all the time. Now, we've had discussions in here, and I know that Andy and I have talked about it many, many times. God is unchangeable. So if that's true, how can what Mary Baker Eddy, how can what she's saying hold any value? And I already gave you a little sneak peek into this. It's not that God changes. It's that our understanding of God changes. When we allow light in, our understanding, our knowing, our wisdom all elevate. Mary Baker Eddy calls it matures. And I like that. Because if we look at our thought processes, when it's on that material level, it is childish. I don't care how adult you think you are. Material thinking, when you're basing your thoughts on what you can see, feel, touch, hear, it's pretty childish. But when you mature, your thought processes and your reasoning, your beliefs, your knowing all come from that intuitive thought process that is part of God speaking. It's not so childish anymore. It could still be fun. It can still be entertaining, but it's not childish. It's mature. As we grow our learning, we become more aware. We create a better understanding of the omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience of God. We become more aware of God in all, as all, and through all. Let there be light is a call for us to bring light into darkness. And it's not just to go light up a dark closet. It is to bring the light of knowing, the light of good, the light of truth into our entire being, especially our thoughts. It is through our thoughts that we create, through our thoughts that we manifest, through our thoughts that we perceive, through our thoughts that we experience. And if there is darkness there, everything that we experience, do, say, think is going to be shadowed in some way. It may not be bad, but there's going to be a shadow of doubt. There's going to be a shadow of wondering what could go wrong. It may be tiny, may not present itself much at all, but it will be there. And it is until we bring that light in, that we can be assured that the shadows are gone and what we're experiencing is true. We are to illuminate our thinking. We're to expand our knowledge of God, and in that we're expanding our connection, our understanding, our awareness of God. This new and expanded understanding is revelation. In science and health, it called it creation. But if we add it to that, what we just said a little bit ago, that God is unchangeable, then how can there be new creation there? So it can't be new creation, it's revelation. So just know that. It's revelation. What you need to know, everything that you could possibly know is already there. It's not that you have to create a new thought process. It's not that you have to create a new understanding. It's that you just reveal what's already there. And that understanding grows. We have to get rid of a mindset that many of us have. Now, my dad grew up in the state of Missouri, and their tagline is the show me state. And we, as a human race, for the most part, we have adopted this show me and I'll believe it attitude. Until I see different, I'm going to hold tight to this belief system right here. When we're talking about the spiritual, if you're holding on to that, I need you to realize right now that you cannot see God. You can see God expressing everywhere you look if you're open-minded enough to see it. Every tree, every bird, every dog, every person, everything is God expressing. But you cannot see God. If you're looking at that tree out there as God expressing, and then somebody comes along and cuts it down and burns it in a burn pile, what just happened to God? God is more than this expression, and we cannot see that with our eyes. So how are you to believe greater? How are you to expand your understanding of God if you hold tight to that belief that you have to see before you can believe? We've got to change that. This is where faith comes in. This is where faith comes in. We can have the thought processes that allow us to understand God more fully, but we have to have faith in what we came up with mentally. We have to have faith in those ideas, those thoughts. We have to know what thoughts are truth. And we have to have faith in that. And in that, we begin to understand God more fully. Now, I'm not asking you to have blind faith. I couldn't ask that of you because I don't have blind faith. I challenge, through my thought process, I challenge any new idea that comes to me. I challenge ideas that I've had of God my entire life. I challenge ideas of the divinity, of the universe. I challenge ideas. And we can't just second guess those ideas. We have to challenge them and see what we can do about proving or disproving them. And as we do that, our foundation of truth gets built and built and built. I now have some things that I will continue to challenge, but I do have doubt that they'll ever be changed. Pertaining to God, that is. There's no doubt in my mind that everything on this face of this earth will change at some point. But my beliefs in God have grown to the point that there are some things that I don't think will be changed, but I'll keep challenging. Because if I don't, I may miss something even greater and even better. But we have to start doing this. We have to start believing before we can see. And again, it's not blind faith. Challenge it. Test it. Do it. Most of the great religions refer to this study that we do as a science. And science is simply testing a theory to see how it holds up. It's not testing God, it's testing the theories, the thoughts that you have within yourself. That's what you're testing. And when they hold up, you got something to hold on to. But through this show me stuff, we have created God in our image. We've created God in a form that we can understand. Many people have that thought of, he's sitting out there on a cloud, he's got this long white beard, he's glowing, and like Santa Claus, he's granting wishes. That is not God. Some people think bigger, some people think, okay, I see the universe, and they're thinking the physical universe, all of the galaxies, the stars, the planets. They're thinking this, and yeah, man, that's huge. That's a whole lot bigger than that dude sitting on a cloud. It's huge, but that's still trying to fit God into a form. If you need God to have a form, look in the mirror, because that is God expressing. And if you need to hold a form, hold that one until you can realize God as infinite, formless. See, we have to go through all of this stuff to get to the point where we realize that God is truly all. In all, as all, through all. God is infinite, and there is nothing in this brain that can grasp exactly what that is. We can't go there. So observing God and seeking God when we do that, we know that God is much more than human. We know that God is this formless love, this formless power, this formless wisdom, and it expresses through everything we see. We must remember that God does not have any form at all. This is so important because it allows us to free our thinking. When we try to fit God into these forms, we just imprison our thought process and we shut ourselves down. Mary Baker Eddy said in this writing, she tells us, mind, capital M, mind, not matter, is the creator. Love, the divine principle, is the father and mother of the universe, including man. Mind, not brain. Forget about this, 7 pounds? 7 pounds of gray matter? That's not what I'm talking about. Mind. This is the consciousness that is infinite. This is the consciousness that we, through our gray matter, tap into our mortal mind and tap into the greater divine mind. That's what she's talking about, is the creator. And that, as we tap into that, as we unveil more and more understanding of that, we're creating, or we're revealing, however you want to look at that. It's when we release our finite thinking that we experience light and truth. Most of our thinking is finite. Most of it's done through this mortal mind, this brain that dies off. But this thing that we have been using our entire life has the capability and the invitation even to think bigger, to tap into divine mind. When we let go and move beyond our mortal mind thinking, we begin to progress in our knowing and our understanding of God, and we open awareness to the experience of God even more. If you can walk in the woods now and you can see the beauty of God, and you see it as beautiful, as wonderful, as you open up your understanding, that experience opens as well. That experience becomes more and more and more until you are so one with that experience that you don't know where you begin and end. You don't know where the woods begin and you end. It all blends. As we transform our thinking of what God is, we release the finite thinking. We empower ourselves to grow more. God is not bound or limited by the material world, and our understanding and awareness of God is not bound unless we bind it. We bind it through the way we look at it, through the way we think, through our belief systems. We must open those. We've learned to see this life experience according to the human experience. This does not mean that we see things as bad or wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that just because we're thinking with our human minds that everything out there is bad. No, everything out there is absolutely wonderful. But it's even more than that. What it means to look beyond this human perception is that we free ourselves. So we've built these walls through our thinking. We've built these walls of perception. And if it doesn't fit inside these walls, fit inside our box, then it can't be. And we just throw it away. And this includes God. Don't fool yourself. We all have done it. We all have done it. We have built this box. Everything has to fit perfectly inside this thing. And that includes our perception of God. Now, some will tell you to expand these walls. I'm going to tell you to destroy these walls. Get rid of them. Because it doesn't work. If you open yourself, your thinking, your beliefs, your experience, if you open yourself to the infinite goodness and love of God, There is no need for the walls. You do not need protection from these things that don't fit in your box. You are free to experience God more fully. So how do we do this? How do we knock down these walls? How do we open our viewpoint so that we can see the wholeness of God, so that we can experience the wholeness of God? The simplest way to do it is to ask questions. Ask questions of yourself. In every situation, in every greeting, in every communication, in every experience, go through a series of questions. What would be the most divine experience of this situation? Consider what that would be. Whether the situation initially is good or bad according to your human take on it all, what would the most divine experience of this situation be? How could it be? And what happens when you start realizing what that would be is you can start interacting in a way that is what manifests. Because every situation that you are in, every conversation that you're in, you are responsible for your experience of it. Even if the other person is being totally difficult, it's your responsibility how you experience it. So what is the divine experience of this situation? Another question is, what is the highest good of this situation? And that's real simple. If it was a bad situation, what's the highest good here? What can I learn? How can I grow? How can I change? How can I redo? Because yes, you can redo situations. Sometimes it's all mental, but since everything is a mental experience anyway, change it. How can I express love into this situation? That's a good one to ask while you're still in the situation. Because if the situation is going south, you express love into it, it's liable to turn around. Did I withhold love in this situation? I hated it when I learned that question. I would walk away from a situation where I went in there all He-Man and everything, I handled it good. Did I withhold love? Oh, man. Yes. Ask that. What more is there for me to see in this situation? And then the last two are, they don't even require a situation to be involved in order to ask these questions. They can be. But they're powerful questions, and I hope you ask yourself these every single day. First one is, what is infinite mind? By simply asking that and considering it, you open yourself to the revelation of greater understanding, which is what you're shining a light into it. Ask yourself the question. The next one is, what is divine love? See, all of these questions basically are prayers. You're asking them of yourself, but you're also asking them of God. And what more is that than prayer? It's a conversation, a communication. As we've talked about before, the key thing with communication with God is to listen. It is to let go of your expectations of how an answer will come to you, or even what an answer might be. Often we go in and say, oh God, please help me understand what this is all about. And we have this idea, okay, if God answers me and it's this way right here, that'd be really cool. And so that's what we're expecting. Let go. Let go of all expectations. Hear. Now when I say hear, I do not mean through these ears. Sometimes you might hear a message spoken to you. Sometimes you may feel it. Sometimes you may intuit it. Pay attention. Allow answers to come. We must become receivers of truth. We know truth is there. It's everywhere present. Truth is God. We must be receivers of truth, and then we must embrace that truth. So let go of your fears, let go of your expectations of what may come. Let the light shine. Open yourself to receive, and know that your understanding of God expands. So let's pray. Father God, knowing divine mind, wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge are infinite, we recognize divine mind is everywhere present. We know this to mean within us as well. Our prayer today is that we open our minds, our hearts, to expand our understanding of divine mind within and everywhere present. We ask that our minds are open, our hearts are more fully open to understand the wisdom, the intelligence, and knowledge that's already available to us. We are so grateful this divine mind is within and available always. Our prayer is that we remember this precious gift, that we allow our light, our divine light, to illuminate any place where fear, darkness, shadows may exist. We ask that we remember this precious gift that is already ours, and that we expand our awareness and understanding in a way that we more fully use it in our lives. We embrace divine mind. We express divine mind. And for all this and more, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.